Eskom is facing a legal battle as the South Durban Community Environmental Alliance and GroundWork challenge the power utility's planned gas-to-power project in Richards Bay. Let's get you more detail. We're now joined by Desmond from the South Durban Community Environment Alliance. Thank you very much for your patience with us this morning. So this is touted as a landmark legal battle, and in your court papers, you are challenging this and you want it to be declared unlawful. Why?
Well, there's a number of factors. Firstly, we've been working in Richards Bay now for a number of years. We do have a presence and office out there. And we've been consulting and working with communities that will be affected by the plant. And there's been hardly any consultation. But just to say that Eskom has not properly provided and looked at the alternative like renewable. So we've made serious comments around this here, and the Minister, Barbara Creasy's department, then granted the Eskom the go-ahead to go, even though the alternatives of renewable was not assessed, and that's not in the environmental impact report. But what's critical more in this whole thing is that we're all aware that the gas plant, that the infrastructure will contain huge amounts of gas and that the methane will have huge leaks, and that was not assessed in the report. We think that's a serious flaw, given that methane has a huge impact on climate change. We know that for a fact that the infrastructure and the risks to society, people that travel on those roads and also live in the society around that facility, will be impacted upon the most. And in retrospect of what transpired is that while we were compiling our responses to Eskom, we then got an invite just about 3 weeks back by Transnet, which is then in the infrastructure project in Richards Bay. Transnet's talking about a massive LNG hub in the harbour. The plant is going to be near the harbour, not far. But more critically in this, in retrospect, they're trying to fix a problem that they should have consulted in the beginning. And we are aware that Car Power Ship, one of the three huge amounts of money that's been spent for electricity, for energy, to be provided. Richards Bay is one of them, and one of them has been allocated for a ship, a Turkish ship, that's going to be there. So it looks like the plan is not properly thought about. It looks like government is in a hurry to do anything and spend money. And we're fully aware that Madupi and Kusili, when the money was allocated by the World Bank in 2009 to Eskom as a loan, we still haven't paid it back. And Madupi and Kusili is not operating fully. And it took so many years to operate, to get it operational. And so renewable energy is practically, you could put it up in a year's time. You could put it up and create lots of jobs. But government and Eskom, despite the fact that they're talking about it, and our president is urging all parties to move to renewable, the government is investing in plants that will take us back, that will not deal with the problem of blackouts, electricity, and load shedding that we're experiencing in the country. It's going to take years. And so we want to know, why is it that we've been locked into these massive loans that the government is taking, and the society, and we're not going to benefit out of it. So the point is, climate change is really KZN. We've seen it on the 12th of April, and to lock us into methane that will exacerbate the climate crisis is going to get worse for people in the country, and in those areas, in the rural areas, these are the people that suffer the most.
Mr. Desar, would you say that, if you'd allow me to join you there, would you say that the president was ill-advised? As you rightfully mentioned, he addressed the nation a few days ago, announcing a number of measures: gas, wind, solar. He also mentioned that land will be made available in Mpumalanga next to some of the power plants, but I think for that he had mentioned renewable energy that will be produced there. Could we see a situation where other civil society groups actually take on Eskom and government and their plans to turn the tide at the power utility, and would you stand in solidarity with them?
certainly we believe that the socially owned renewable energy, and we've had serious conversations with the trade unions because ultimately jobs are going to be lost. So we have to look at how do we upskill our people, create more jobs, and we will stand with them in ensuring that socially owned renewable energy is part and parcel of the package, and that Eskom should not be privatized. Rather, they should start moving to a just transition and spend the money that will not create more harm and not impact on society as a whole. So certainly we will stand with civil society movement. We are working as a collective in this country like never before seen. I'm quite happy to say that a lot of groups, a lot of our people have been denied access to clean energy, and they have now found that in renewable we have friends, we have jobs, and also we can redistribute the wealth to ordinary people.
As you outlined the disadvantages of not only privatization but of using gas, would you say that these swathes of measures that the president announced, he was the one who was delivering them, was he ill-advised?
Well, I think, look, I don't know the science, but we looked at Eskom's reports, and it's clear that the people that were informing the report don't have the scientific knowledge, or they don't understand what the science is saying, and they don't understand the chemicals out there. We know that methane can produce 86 times more greater impact than carbon dioxide. So we're saying coal is bad, but we also know that methane can produce 86 times more than carbon dioxide, which can exacerbate the climate crisis, which can already create problems for people's health in those areas.
You had mentioned the communities that will be impacted in Richards Bay with this gas project. We understand you're heading to court on the 2nd and the 3rd of August, but I just wanted to understand the impact outside of the climate impact. Are we going to be seeing people relocated from their places?
Well, that's part of the problem. You know, there is no, we thought that the government has already embarked on, you know, government's talking about people must get the land back. You know, we need to have a situation where the land was taken away from people will be returned. But in fact, we've seen the biggest land grab taking place in the Richards Bay area, in the Zululand area, not only with Eskom, but also the mines are doing it. So, you know, we are talking about giving people land back, but in the same vein, the biggest land grab, and government is approving that to be taken from people. And we disagree with that. We think that if you want to improve the life of the whole lot of people in this country, especially those that live in rural areas and are impoverished and have to live without no food because all their commons, the water is contaminated. We certainly believe that they don't take the land away from the people, ensure that people have equal access to land, and they can use the land for providing food for their homes and families. They can use it for creating small business developments. And that is needed in this country. And we think that the president's got the opportunity to talk. He's got the Climate Planning Commission, who have a lot of skill. And, you know, you should be listening to people there because they are informed from the ground up, and they have the knowledge to provide that knowledge to the president so he can use in coming to a sound decision so that the country can move forward. We can't continue down that road of the chemicals that are produced and you want them to be developing refineries that's going to take years to develop, but more critically it's going to harm people and the environment, and then we want to go backwards. I think he has a chance to do what's right, develop these solar panels, develop all this, not only in Mpumalanga, but all over the country. There's enough land to develop, and people can get access to energy, to electricity at a far cheaper rate. We know that renewable energy is far cheaper. The prices have gone down. We do not need to have these big refineries built, all in the name of profits for certain companies, and it's going to have an impact, and it will exacerbate the problem of affordability in this country that people are suffering with. We just cannot afford, even the middle class cannot afford the electricity cost. And Eskom continues to put up the cost. At the same time, they are giving huge amounts of handshakes. We've seen so much money disappear out of the Eskom fiscus. Millions of rands are given to handshakes when the top CEOs are retrenched or fired. And we certainly believe that the deregularizing it and giving it to ordinary people is the right way. And we can work together with the trade unions, we can work together with all worker formation to ensure that people do not lose their jobs, but we get to a socially owned renewable energy plan.
Thank you very much for your time. That's all we can afford in terms of time. Very many curious decisions being made in South Africa. Desmond is with the South Durban Community Environmental Alliance.